Hi, I'm Stephen Dufresne. Thank you for joining us today. This is my wife, Morgan.
We're so glad that you're with us, and we have some key points that we want to share with you to help you get into all that God has for you. One of the key points that we learned and developed in was being patient.
Right.
We've been believing for a new home, for some divine ideas for quite some time now, like I said, about 6-7 years. And patience for us was something that my husband, he really had to work on. I had to develop in just in our everyday life. Not just patient with our faith, patient in what we were believing God for, but God really began to deal with me about being patient when you're out in your everyday life. Just being patient when you're out driving on the freeway, or being patient when you're at the store, being patient with your kids, because at those moments when you lose patience and you get frustrated and get irritated at what seems so small will carry over into your faith life when you're needing to be patient for the timing of what God has for you. And so Hebrews 1 verse 4 says, "Let endurance and steadfastness and patience have full play and do a thorough work, so that you may be perfectly and fully developed, lacking nothing." And we began to see that God was trying to do a work in us by being patient. When we would get impatient, where's our home?
Right.
Where's these things that we've been believing for? Why haven't they manifested? We began to realize God was doing a work in us.
Yeah.
He was trying to develop some things, get us to understand some endurance, because not everything you believe for is going to manifest the next day. We believe we receive. As it talks about in Mark, we believe we receive, but there's a time from the time you believe you receive till the time it manifests. And that time period requires patience and endurance. And so we began to learn in the little things every day
Right.
to exercise patience and to
Right.
endure some things. It wasn't difficult, it wasn't hard. You have anything to share along those lines?
Yeah, you know, it really is so important to remember what time frame we're on. We're on God's time frame, and the Bible talks about God, there is no time. And it says that life is, in the eyes of God, a vapor for us. That's one thing that I had to remember, especially because me and my dad, we're get it done yesterday type people. We don't like waiting. Why isn't these things working? Why aren't these things coming to pass? And you can get frustrated
Yeah.
in that time,
Yeah.
extremely, because what you think is the right timing is not the God timing. And we have learned that tremendously. I have lost my victory multiple times because I thought that it was supposed to manifest at a certain time and it didn't. And I've learned so much by being in that spot, messing up, learning in that time, and really to look back and say, you know what is God's timing? It's the perfect timing.
Yeah, and the timing that he's talking about, the patience, and you lose your victory because you think you know what you need. You think you know what you want. You think you know what it is that God has for you. And one thing that Pastor Nancy has taught us is that in that time period that you're waiting and being patient, God's enlarging you. You're getting into His Word. As long as you're renewing your mind and stretching your faith and starting to think more like He thinks,
Right.
and desire what He wants for you. He's not looking to get you into something so fast, whether it be a new business, whether it be a new home, be it something you're believing for your family, divine ideas. He's not looking to just throw you into something. He wants you to be in the greatest the greatest supply, the greatest blessing that he has, and he sometimes has to wait for us to develop in our thinking, renew our mind, and for us that's what it required.
Right.
We were thinking so much smaller than what he had intended for us, and so it took us really to be patient so that we could renew our own minds and get our thought life and our thoughts higher, get our thoughts in line with his word, get our thoughts in line with what he really desired for us. So it really had more to do what he desired for us. And one thing Pastor Nancy had talked about was that we really took note of and meant a lot to us was that sometimes a delay for God doesn't mean no. It just means he's wanting you to get yourself in a position that you can receive all that he has for you.
Right.
And so that was one thing that we learned to do, is be patient to receive all that he has, because we would have certainly settled.
Right. You know, Mark, I think we're onto something here. And I think on the next episode, we need to talk about preparation time.
Yeah,
It's very
good.
important with patience. And we'll talk about that next time. We want to thank y'all for joining us today on the Frayne Faith Journal. Tune in next time.